For more on this, let's bring in Chris Doyle in London. He's a Middle East commentator and director at Council for Arab-British Understanding. Chris, thanks for being with us. So how much of a blow to Hezbollah is the loss of Haytham Tabatabai?
Well, he was arguably the number two in Hezbollah. He was a very senior commander who was involved in building up its special forces, the Radwan force. So together with all the other assassinations that Israel has conducted against Hezbollah's top command, the decapitation strategy obviously is continuing. This was the fifth Israeli strike in Beirut since the ceasefire of last November, and that anniversary is just coming up in a couple of days' time. So it is a reminder to Hezbollah, if it wasn't already aware of it, that the Israeli leadership is hell-bent on continuing to break Hezbollah, to fragment it, to weaken it in any way possible. But of course, the real fear, the fear in Lebanon at least, is that this is going to escalate, that we'll see yet another Israeli full-scale onslaught on Lebanon, something it really and the population cannot sustain.
And Hezbollah has not responded to sustained Israeli breaches of the ceasefire, as you mentioned, over the past year. I mean, what kind of response might it be considering now? Is it in a position for any sort of sizable response?
It's hard to know. We see reports that Hezbollah has been rearming via the ports, via Beirut port, via the border with Syria, but to the extent that that was happening, it's very hard to know. Tabatabai was seen as somebody who was in charge of that, had been ordered to rebuild Hezbollah's armed strength. But then again, this is exactly what Prime Minister Netanyahu wants. He wants to have another conflict escalated like this. So I think the Hezbollah leadership is very well aware that a trap is being laid for them. So a precipitant response right now could be exactly what the Israeli armed forces are looking for, the excuse to go further into Lebanon and to rip up that ceasefire agreement and to distract, of course, from what's going on in Gaza, where a ceasefire isn't really happening there either as well.
The Israelis have framed this as putting pressure on the Lebanese government and authorities and army to speed up the disarming of Hezbollah. Do you think that aim will be successful?
Not in the slightest. I remember in September when the Lebanese cabinet reviewed the military plans for doing this and wondered how this could possibly happen. Hezbollah would have to consent to all of this. The Lebanese army is not strong enough on its own to do it. It's not going to risk a great civil war in Lebanon over this. So I think there's a really a major question mark about how this American-imposed plan is actually going to work. You have to give Hezbollah a reason to actually be willing to disarm, to actually rip up its military infrastructure. And that would have had to have been, at least minimum, a full-scale Israeli withdrawal from Lebanon. At the moment, Israel is still holding on to 5 sites in southern Lebanon. And of course, as we've been discussing, is making regular violations of that ceasefire, bombing not just Beirut, but the Bekaa and southern Lebanon and other areas in the country. So I don't see that this is going to bring us any closer to seeing the disarmament of Hezbollah. Far from it. I think they're more likely to want to hold on to their arms and will be able to get more popular support for doing just that.
Chris Doyle, Middle East commentator and director at the Council for Arab-British Understanding. Thanks so much for your time.